Hi, I'm Raquel, and this is my family. Join us on this wonderful journey as we build our dream villa in the Virgin Islands. Hey guys, welcome back. So this is part 2 of my series on building a home in St. John, Virgin Islands. So if you have not seen part 1, definitely go back and check it out so that you guys can see how we got started with purchasing our land. And I walked through the entire process from start to finish as far as closing on the mortgage for the land. So if you're new here, I am Raquel and I am originally from St. John, Virgin Islands, and I've been living in the States for quite some time, and my husband and I decided that we were going to purchase a property, a piece of land back in the Virgin Islands. So if you want to hear all about it, like I said, definitely check that video out. But just a little bit about St. John, if you're not familiar and you just happen to roll across this video and click on it. St. John is the smallest island in the United States Virgin Islands. And I'm actually going to quote from virginislands.com. St. John is the smallest, but many think it's the prettiest. And just being from back home, and that's my island, it is the prettiest, it's the best, so I'm a little biased. It's mostly covered in pristine nature reserve, and it also boasts a number of lovely beaches, hidden coves, and quiet resorts where you can relax and watch the waves with a fruity cocktail. After the sun sets into the ocean, the island comes to life at the many cozy, romantic, and vibrant bars and restaurants in Cruise Bay. I know home is probably the best place in the world to most everyone. Whether you are from a small town in Alabama or a remote island, home is home. So like I said, we decided to purchase land back home. So really, where have we been in the past few months? So it's really only been about 2 or 3 months since we posted part 1 of our series, and many have been asking for an update on where we are. So we have been working with an architect. So at the end of my last video, I said we had engaged an architect to start to draw plans for us. So really, that's what we've been doing. That's why it's been so quiet, because we've been working back and forth with her via email, text, phone. When we originally put our deposit down, we met her at the property in person and we walked it all together, my husband and I and her, and she looked to see like how steep it is, like how wide, and then there in person we talked about potential plans for it. So after that, we gave her a deposit, and it's been about 6 months since we've been working with her. And we were prepared for the process to take quite some time, especially this part with the architect, because there's a limited amount of architects in the Virgin Islands. So I'm going to break down really the steps in the process and where we started as far as the plans to where we are now and next steps in our process. All right, so I have my little notebook here because I don't want to forget anything. So when we originally met with the architect, my husband and I had some initial thoughts on what we wanted in a property if we ever bought land and we had to build. One thing that we wanted, one thing that I would say that we didn't want is to build an extremely big home with 4 or 5 bedrooms. We wanted to keep it simple, a 1 or 2 bedroom cottage. We were even open just to doing something a little bit on the tiny side, maybe a 1 bedroom. Then we really started to think, okay, we do have kids. And then also, the size of our land, it's pretty wide. There are some lots that are a little smaller, but ours, in our last video, I showed how wide it is. And that wasn't the motivation to build bigger, but it was giving us ideas of how we could potentially spread out the property. Also, something that we had to consider is that our property is within a HOA, a homeowners association, and there are bylaws. HOA, I would say, is not common in the Virgin Islands, but we just happened to get a piece of land with an HOA. And there's one rule that says that you cannot build multiple dwellings on one property, that if you're going to build multiple, they have to be connected somehow. So I don't know why that is. Maybe it, prevents overcrowding on properties and things like that. I'm sure they have their reasons based on experience or whatever. So because of that, at first we were thinking that we would do maybe multiple 1-bedroom cottages, maybe 2 or 3 on the property. But because everything had to be connected, we had to be a little bit creative and also think of personally what we wanted to do, because right now we're still in Georgia. Our kids are still in school for quite some time. So we'll probably be back and forth once this property is built. So we had to think of what made sense for our family and financially as well. So we do plan to rent this property out when we're not there. But when we are there, we needed to have at least some space to be there, maybe while it's still being rented. So what we decided to do is just really one dwelling, and it's a 1-bedroom on one side. In the middle, you have a common area. And then on the right side, there's a 2-bedroom that we could rent out. And then it's all connected by pergolas. Pergolas in the middle. And so the whole property is connected, if that makes sense. But I'll definitely post a picture in just a few of our 3D images that we got from the architect so far. So just a couple must-haves that we had to have, and really what we communicated to the architect that we have to have in the property. We wanted a lot of outdoor space. So just being by like our parents' house and homes that were built, in the 70s and 80s back home, Peter and I noticed that there is a lot of indoor space, and it could be primarily because our parents and grandparents were building for or to accommodate a lot of kids, right? So if, traditionally back then, our parents and grandparents had more kids than we do. So they would build like 4 or 5-bedroom homes, pretty huge homes. And then there may be a wraparound porch on the upstairs, and then the downstairs would be like an apartment that you would rent out so that it could finance the whole property. We wanted to do something a little bit different. We don't have that many kids. So we wanted a lot of outdoor space, definitely. A lot of porch space, so that we can have lounge chairs, and we love to be outdoors. Even here in Georgia, we were always on our back porch. Another must-have was a lot of windows. We're in the islands. We're going to be in the islands. I want outdoor space. I want a lot of windows. I want big windows. I don't want any small windows. I'm talking floor to ceiling windows. I want to see outside. I want to see the view. I mean, that's the point of being in the island. So definitely a lot of windows and sliding doors. Definitely want to bring a lot of the outside elements inside. Like I said, because we're in the islands. Another must-have is that we wanted it to be more on the modern side with a little bit of an island twist. More like an island modern, something that you would see like in Bali, where you have, your straight lines, but you have a lot of greenery inside and wicker and things like that. Stonework to bring in the island feel. So all of these things we communicated to the architect. One thing that we did is I provided her some pictures of some buildings that I liked as far as the style, the size. So I gave her some inspiration, and she didn't ask for it, but that's just me. I kind of like to be all over every project that I have. So I gave her some inspiration, things that I found on Pinterest, other villas that I saw online for sale that I liked, just the concept. I sent that to her as well. Another must-have is a pool, and we don't want a huge pool, but just something, because if we're going to rent this property out, Having a pool, I believe it's a must-have. If you look at the other villas on the island, they all have some type of pool, whether a big pool, a small pool, even though it's in the Virgin Islands and there's beaches, some guests do prefer to have a pool. So like I said, we had to keep in mind what we personally wanted. And if we were just building this for ourselves and our family, we would probably just nix the pool. But because we're going to rent it out before we, start to really use it, we definitely wanted to have a pool. We wanted it to be strong. Definitely, we're not going to build a wood house. It's going to be all concrete. Even the roof is going to be concrete. It's going to be a solid structure. That way, when we're in Atlanta, we're not worried for like hurricane season about our roof blowing off or anything like that. Definitely not common. You see more of island style hip roofs in the Virgin Islands. So it's going to look a little different, but we're okay with that. I definitely wanted it to be open concept, and also, like I said, to have the flexibility for us to stay there when we're there, and then when we're not there, we could rent the whole property. It's going to be 3 bedrooms in total, so just to rent it all, or when we're there, we can just rent the 2-bedroom, and then we can stay in the 1-bedroom. So after I gave the architect all the inspiration and all the must-haves, she came back to us in January with a first draft of the floor plan. So the first thing that you get, or the first thing that we got, was the bare basic floor plans. Really just the layout of where the bedrooms are going to be, the kitchen. It was really no detail, just the general floor plans. So she included a pool concept in front of the middle building, and I wasn't too fond of that. I didn't want the pool to be the center of attention of the villa. Like I said, I wanted a small pool. So we kind of had to rework that. Also, the orientation of the master bedroom, I didn't like it because the bed would be facing towards like a wall. And in my head, I know where the view is at. And my husband and I wanted the bed, once you get up in the morning, you wake up and you see the view, you see the ocean. So we wanted to change the orientation of our 1-bedroom, master bedroom area on the left side. In the middle of the property, the orientation of the kitchen was a little off. Just some things that we wanted to change as far as making it more of an open concept. And then also we wanted to get rid of a lot of the tubs that she had in there. We didn't need a tub in every bathroom on the property. Wanted to have more showers, especially if we're going to rent it out. We just have to be mindful that some people may want a tub, but not everybody would want a tub. So then in February, which was about a month after we got our first draft, she sent back a second draft based on the edits that we had on the first draft. So what we did instead with the pool is that we added it to the rooftop of the middle building that we have here. And we got that idea from a friend's home that we visited, and then just some other things that we were seeing on Pinterest, that instead of building out, we wanted to kind of build up and also take advantage of the view. I mean, we are paying good money. We pay good money to have the view. So definitely we wanted to be in the pool, be up high, see the view. So she added the pool to the rooftop. Also in this second draft, even though she added the pool to the rooftop, the pool was just way too big still for my liking. My husband was okay with the pool being big, but I wanted something smaller. Like I said, I wanted a small pool. I wanted more outdoor space to relax and just a pool to dip in ever so often. On the second draft, we also needed to rework the kitchen island. The orientation of it, again, was not the way we wanted. So we had to have her kind of rotate that a little bit. And then the laundry area, I I don't like stackable washer and dryers, neither does Peter. So we had to have her rework the laundry area so that we can have a full-size washer and dryer. Also, the guest bathroom in the 2-bedroom side was just a bit too big for it being a guest bathroom and for us having to rent out the place. So instead, what we did is we tried to be a little bit creative and we asked her to rework the bathroom. And instead of having a big bathroom, we have a small hallway before the bathroom. And in that hallway towards the wall, we would have bunk beds so that if we have guests coming to stay and they have multiple kids, they can have bunk beds. So a couple weeks after that, we started to map out the outside of the property and where we wanted the driveway to be. So our property is a bit unique in the sense that it's, slightly on a hill like most properties back in the islands. The great thing is there are 2 roads that you can take to access the property. There's a top road and then there's a bottom road. So the great thing is that we can enter our property from the top and the bottom. So we wanted to take advantage of that. My husband definitely was big on that he wanted to have good parking. We didn't want to have to park on the side of the road. We wanted it to be able to accommodate a number of cars. Like if we are there with our family and we're renting at the same time, that we're not up under each other. So I went on Canva because like I said, I am just all over the process. I'm not the type to really sit back and just let someone just design something that could be a good or a bad thing. But I went on Canva and I actually got the drone shot of our property and I gave her our idea of what we thought for the driveway, where we would have that entrance from the top. The house would be in the middle, and then there would be parking off to the side, and then we can drive down to the bottom road. So I mapped all of that out on Canva in a little cartoon for her and sent it to her. And I was hoping that I didn't offend her, but she was okay with it. She actually loved that I was kind of giving her details on what was in my head and what I wanted instead of her having to guess. So that was the driveway, and she was able to use that to actually map out where the driveway was actually going to be on the property. So a month after that, she actually sent us our first 3D image of the property. When that email came in, I was so excited because I didn't know that we would get a 3D of the property. I thought it would just be the plans, kind of like old style where you have those roll plans in a tube. Anywho, she's emailed us a 3D copy image of the property. And so we clicked on the link, opened it, and it wasn't what I wanted at all as far as the style. So there was a miscommunication in the process. So me being all over the process and sending her a whole bunch of pictures of inspiration, I sent her a picture of a Mediterranean, I guess, Spanish style home. And my intent was to show that to her so she could understand the size of the 2-bedroom part of the property, just so that she can get an idea of the size. But I think the miscommunication was that she thought I was sending that to her as far to show her the style that we wanted. So when we got the 3D image, it was all Spanish style, browns and glass banisters and things like that. Definitely not the style that I wanted. The structure and the layout was right, but not the style. So that kind of pushed us back another 2 to 3 weeks. So about a month later, we got the updated 3D plans with the modern style home. So I was super pleased with the updates. So we had the modern banisters, the pool on the rooftop. Everything was there, and I was super pleased with it. We are still super pleased with it. And then we went back and forth with her a little bit more on the electrical plans, where we would have the cistern, because in homes back home, you have to have a cistern to collect water. So things like that. We talked about the style of the roof and just all of those details. So the final draft came, and the final draft actually had what I loved is the island style stonework on the outside of the house. That's what she added from the last draft, and I was super pleased. Like I said, I'm still super pleased with how things are coming. The pool is smaller. It's exactly what I wanted. And then what she did also is that she added the cistern underneath the deck of the home. And we originally didn't think that we would have such a big deck on the front of the home. But because we needed to have a place to put our cistern, instead of putting the cistern on the ground and then putting the home on top of the cistern, we are going to build the cistern, push the house back a little bit so that on top of the cistern is more deck space. So if we ever wanted to host parties or small gatherings or anything like that, again, we have more outdoor space. So that's where we are. I hope I have not been very long-winded. I'm pretty sure I have, but I wanted to kind of give all the details on that process and next steps. So next, now that we have final plans, the next step is to actually submit the plans to the HOA, because there is a requirement that because we're part of this association that we have to submit our plans to them for review. And then after that, we will be submitting the plans to DPNR in the Virgin Islands for official government approval, getting the permits, and then we'll start excavation. So super excited on where we are so far. I love the plans. I'm excited about it. We haven't officially named our villa yet. So this is going to be a villa slash home, and we don't have a name yet. So I don't know. We've been going back and forth on what we would like to call it. So I don't know. If you have any ideas based on what you've seen today, definitely drop those in the comment. And also, don't forget to hit the like button on this video. That's the only way that YouTube knows that you guys are actually enjoying the videos and finding them helpful, so that my channel can continue to grow. So thanks for watching. I will see you guys in part 3, and have a great day. Bye.